Three, two, one. Hi guys, Holistic Health Harry Alkalized to Realize talk show. Today we're joined by a very special guest you may recognize who interviewed me recently, Henry Draper. How are you, mate?
Yeah, well, good. Thanks, Harry. Yeah.
Nice to have you on, my brother. I enjoyed the conversation that we had when you interviewed me, the back and forth. It was really beautiful, and I thought it's very worthy to have you on and talk to you a little bit about things and go deep. I thought I'd start by asking you, tend to most people, how did you get into health, spirituality, awareness? How did it all start for you, bro?
Wow, geez, yeah, that's I could go on for a while, but for me, it was like, you know, actually really started when I was reading about hemp online. I was probably like 18 at the time, and just how it could do everything oil can do, plus it's medicine, and if you can make fiberglass kind of stuff with it and all this, it was pretty cool. And then I met this guy who was sailing on a yacht across the Atlantic, and one of the guys who was crewing the boat was from Denmark, and he was telling me he was starting up a hemp business, and he told me about the Rockefellers, kind of reminding me about what's going on in the world, because I learned about it when I was like 16, but I got back absorbed into the public consciousness, and so he prompted me to like investigate more into these natural things, and then eventually I was like getting offered jobs on boats to earn, like 3,000 euros a month with no expenses, no taxes. You live on the boat, you get all your meals and everything. It's like a luxurious lifestyle, but I was just cleaning boats. It wasn't like a luxurious job. It's just the lifestyle looked nice. But I kept seeing all this poison and pollution everywhere, like in the ocean, like there's oil sitting on top, people littering, and just like the noisy cars in France where I was. It was just like, yeah, I wanted to do something that made sense with the natural environment instead of just earning lots of money, because what does that equal, when you don't have the environment to support you? So I had to stop that, and I ended up going back to university to do biodiversity studies, and that was boring. So I went traveling again, but this time I went to Mexico and Latin America down, and I went woofing after being in Mexico for a couple months, and I went down to Playa del Carmen, and I went woofing in the jungle about 30 minutes out of town.
Cool.
And that's when I learned about all this stuff like gardening and like eating a more natural, just plant-based diet. And because I had been vegan for a while for the environmental reasons, but I didn't really understand how to do it for health reasons. So yeah, for me it was that. And then once I started doing that, I became a lot more sensitive in my body, and so I started feeling around my body, and I could feel like where the pain was, and I could start moving that energy around. And yeah, so that's a bit of a backstory.
That's very cool, and I'm really into Vipassana meditation. You told me you got sensitive to the awareness of like the energies that were moving around, and that normally we can't see because we're so ill and unhealthy that we can only feel the pain. And once we remove the pain, like you said, we start getting. It's very cool that you start getting these kind of sensations coming around. You can feel around that stuff.
Yeah, well, for me, it was like I started detoxing, so I like became aware of where the pain was in my body, and then it's like, oh, why do I have that? And then I guess eventually, or you recognize that it's not really just a physical thing at all. The physical body is really pretty awesome. It's our mind and our emotions that affect it. So we're holding on to these things subconsciously a lot of the time, and then they appear as like physical pains or ailments. So yeah.
But you're in California right now. Am I correct? Somewhere in Cali?
Yeah, I'm in Huntington Beach, California, so it's pretty
Near the beach.
Nice to be at the beach. Here we're a block from the beach, and it's like winter time, so there's no one there at the moment, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm from New Zealand, and I traveled around, and now I'm here because I'm with the New Presentation Foundation, and people can go to turfclub.club to see our project plan that I put together. It's about 50 pages talking about how you can build rainforests in different ways and how you can do it anywhere in the world by adding biology to the soil and companion planting and using different technologies like scalar energy instruments and Russian pyramids and things. So Yeah, it's my real focus is supporting the natural environment and creating a position for where the young people and everyone in this world can have a real purpose so they can become more aware, because realistically that's why we all came here. It's like I was watching some kids at the beach this morning, and they've got no concerns about anything. They're just running around, they're in the water, it's cold, but they don't care, and they're having fun, and the parents are always like sitting on their phones and like not moving.
Yeah.
And I was seeing how like a lot of the time this is so natural for children to just move around, and so they don't have any pain, they have healthy bodies because they're always moving the energy. Their mitochondria is working good when they're young, but then they go to school. They go to school and they're told to sit still all day, and it's like bad. You're a bad kid if you want to get up and run around. And we even watched this documentary recently about grounding, and all the autistic kids, they were getting out of their seat, running out of the classroom. They didn't know where they went. They would go around the whole school, and the kids were always under this one tree that, the only part of the school that was basically grounded because it's a concrete prison yard. And so, yeah, it's really interesting. And then you go to school and you're just told to sit down all day. And eventually you become like that. I look at myself and I have to go and like, I do like Arnold Ehret's exercises, I have to get myself up to go and do. I mean, I like to run around and, do fun stuff too, but, it's not like a kid where, they just do it naturally.
Spontaneous, isn't it?
They don't even consider it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that makes me think too, like when you were talking, I was thinking about purpose and stuff. And like, we talk about purpose and meaning to life. And I think that's kind of true as an adult, but a kid doesn't have a purpose, does it? A kid's just playing around. Like you said, you watch them wherever they are and they're just doing their own shit. They don't think, my purpose is this, that makes me happy. The kid's purpose, what is purpose? Because the kid's just having fun and doesn't even know what it's going to be as an adult. Or like, really, it's just, what is it doing? Do we need purpose, man? Like kids don't seem to have.
Uh-huh. Well, purpose is a big word for a kid, but realistically, they do have a purpose, and they're already doing it without even considering it, which is just like gaining more experience and becoming more aware. They'll build a sandcastle, they get the experience of touching something physically and creating something, that cause and effect experience. They're always experiencing things, and they're really getting a lot more experience than people because they're seeing all these things that are happening all the time. Like
Yeah.
there's just so much going on, and they're watching it because they're not stuck in their mind and emotions in the future and the past,
Yeah. And
like
like you said,
people
keeping
are.
still, the adults keeping still, which is almost like the rigid,
Hmm.
it's almost symbolic of the rigidity of the mind, that there's
Hmm.
dogma there, like, for example, you can't heal the body outside of pharmaceutical drugs, and all these kind of issues that we have as adults that we have to unlearn and become a kid again. In many ways, you have to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, just be like a kid, be like the heart of a child. It's
Yeah.
like it's wonderful, and I just see myself as this kid, and then I get asked questions by people out in the world, and it's like you're gonna get shocked by how like harsh people are, and it's like
Yeah.
I just kind of try to make a joke or
Yeah.
something with people. But yeah, it's an interesting world out there, that's for sure, and people, they really do need a purpose, because the business world, the whole world is set up to get people to agree to destroy the natural environment that supports us, drive cars, pollute the air we breathe, do all this stuff. And so they've even created this whole climate change hoax to get people scared
Yeah.
that the climate is going to kill them. And so they're getting people to agree to solar radiation management, which is chemtrails, which is killing people, putting nanotechnology inside them that the 5G is going to activate. People are going to get just become like little robots, and even more so than now. And so, yeah, there's so much going on, but to really just pay attention to how awesome that natural environment is so cool. And so with a real purpose of actually supporting what supports you, like planting things and watching them grow, and like experiencing that relationship with like the fungi and the plants to where they support you and you support them.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's like like us now, we can support each other. We're sharing each other's things that we're doing that make sense so others can become more aware. And it's cool to be doing things that make sense. And so with our projects is we're giving people the opportunity to do something that makes sense for everybody. And then we can all become more aware of that we call the isness that supports everything, that like the whole of life, which is the natural environment, is just like one part of that. And so as we get that experience with that, we become more aware of what that is, and then we can recognize it more so, like within each other, within everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
what you
pretty
said.
cool.
I mean, there's so many points I could touch base with. First of all, the fact that we need a purpose, because if we don't, the purpose that's been designed for us is to take us away from the isness, the awareness, the true power, into like this falsehood of lies that keeps us unhealthy, unhappy, the opposite of being a child, really, and stuck in a box and miserable. And yeah, and oh man, it's crazy how it's set up to, there's so many things are set up against the true nature and awareness of what should be and what has been created for us, that it's a mind fuck. To understand everything's a mind fuck. And I think we're reliant on individuals like yourself to bring a mastery to a certain thing. Whilst you have awareness of a lot of things, you've got a mastery of a certain thing, and then maybe I've got a different mastery, and collectively we can all bandy together and share our masteries, and then together we can raise awareness of all there is in many different aspects of life, in nature, in truth, in learning, in so many things, bro.
Yeah, for sure. It's like what you're doing with like sharing the health stuff. It's like it's awesome, you know, because once you recognize and begin to experience life here without any pain or any like ailments or anything, it's like, okay, cool, I've got all this energy. It's like now like what am I gonna do? You know, what am I gonna do with this? And it's like, okay, you got to figure that out. But realistically, we all came here to become more aware and recognize the true reality life is. And so that's our purpose. And you got to figure out something to activate that like journey and that recognition. And so, yeah, for me, I think health is great and it's like a really important part. But then from there, we got to go and we got to like make things happen. And
Yeah.
we got to instigate that awareness and that like that journey. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a real adventure, that's for sure. And like you said, there's so much stuff out there to get people away, to like take people's attention. And if people read the new books, especially book 2 and 4, A Real Journey to Real Freedom, I send it to you, Harry. And
Yeah,
in
you did.
that book, Dwayne and Rebazar, one of the real guides, they go and they meet the governor lords of each level of creation. And creation is just like a bubble, right? Just like one big bubble. And there's different layers, but it's kind of all part of the same bubble, you know. So you have your physical body, astral, causal, which is like your memory body, your mental, and your subconscious, intuitive body. And they're kind of all on their own levels, but they're all kind of there, you know. But you can drop each one and experience the other levels without having the physical or the astral, etc. And so in the book, as he gets to the mental level, the god or the governor lord there is called Kal Naranjan, or the Kalam god. And so it's really interesting to read because he's just like any, you know, controlling authority. He just wants people to agree to what he's deciding so that they can maintain his position. Just like here on the earth, if no one voted or nobody agreed to be controlled by the governments, then they couldn't, but they're actually agreeing to it, whether they're conscious of it or not. And so a Callum God, that's what he's doing, is he's programming people from the mental level and getting their minds to agree to destroy the natural environment that supports them. And when Dwayne's talking to him, it's like he talks about how he's actually taken over many of the spiritual paths and religious things on the earth and in creation. And we got a new friend here, and so one of the things he talks about.
Alison.
Sorry.
Just a quick one. How did you get on, Alison? Is this from last week's link? Yes.
Sorry, yes.
That's crazy.
Hi.
All right, I gotta leave you. I'm interviewing someone, but yeah, please, man. Yeah, cool. Sorry about that. Apologize, Henry.
Yeah, and so one of the things the Callum God has taken over is basically all the religions and spiritual paths. And so now by taking them over, like they refer to the mental level. So they might sound good, like love and light, and these things but they actually refer to him because he programs people to use these words. And so when they use them, they're actually agreeing to him and his control. And so one of the things is like the Om sound. If you go to the mental level and you go near the castle of Kalnaranchan, you can hear the Om sound because it's being projected from there. And so when you actually sing the Om, it connects you to the mental level. And that can feel like a really good, sensational experience for people, because
it does feel really
the
good,
mental,
doesn't it? It feels good for everyone when you say the word "on." There's something going on there. You're saying on the mental level, this mental thing going on. Mental body's getting fed by the "on."
yeah, exactly. But it's a limited position, you know. So it's like, so it might feel good, but it only gets you so far, you know. It's like it can become a crutch, and you're actually agreeing to whatever else that the Kalam God can subconsciously or mentally program you with. So it's actually kind of dangerous, and to some extent. And so if you sing it in a very calm state, and then you sing something like the New You comparatively, which connects you to the real universes beyond creation, there's just this huge difference. And this is just like one thing we share, and people can test it, you know, just test the difference. Like we had this one friend, and she was a Reiki practitioner, and one of our other friends saw that when she was doing Reiki, lots of astral entities were around, and they were sucking energy from the person and the practitioner. And so the Reiki practitioner was also pretty intuitive, and so she could kind of see it once she had been prompted to look at it. And then so she started, instead of using the Reiki symbols and things that have been taken over by entities on the other levels, she just started singing the New You and using words like purity and sincerity, humility, gratitude, these things that make sense. And then the entities disappeared because they can't touch the real light. It's too strong for them, you know. So, yeah, it's like with Brother Sage the other day. I interviewed him, and we're talking about real love compared to just like love, because love is an emotional sensation, but real love is just like it's just real. It's without any attitudes or any desires. It's like it's like a mother for a newborn child, you know. It's like, it's not emotional. It's just like, it's really gratitude, you know. It's is what it is.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I relate to that. That book I'm going to get to reading. I'm really excited about reading that, actually, to be honest. It's very interesting. Yeah, so I do want to talk a little bit about, transition a little bit to distilled water, because I know that you sell something that's really intriguing to me. Could you explain to the audience what distilled water you drink and sell, and explain the process of how it's made and what it is exactly?
Oh yeah, that's really cool. So if people go to nuwavewater.club, that's our website, and there's a 15-minute video on there made by the guy who invented the machine. His name's John Ellis. And what the machine does is it distills water not once, but hundreds of times. So John Ellis, he's an engineer. When he was young, he read the book The Alchemist. You know, a lot of people have read that book. It's pretty cool. And he read in there that by heating and cooling water, you know, lots of times you actually change the properties of water. You give it mystical properties, is what it said in the book. And so with his engineering background, he designed a machine that would heat and cool water hundreds of times, distilling it hundreds of times. And so by doing that, you get the super pure water. And it also goes through 2 UV lights as it's being distilled to oxygenate it, like oxygenating O2, you know, they add ozone into the water as it's being distilled. And so through this whole process, a few things happen. And what happens, one thing is the hydrogen bond angle changes. So the angle, like imagine these are like 2 hydrogens and this is the oxygen. The angle opens up to 114 degrees. And normal water is 104. So it's like a big difference. It's actually 114 is right in between ozonated water, and hydrogen peroxide. So it's like a whole nother angle.
Wow.
And 50 years ago, the hydrogen bond angle of water was 108. Now it's 104. So as like I talked about in our last video, secondary water, which is what people think the whole water cycle is all poisoned and polluted. The real water is way down in the earth. Or it doesn't have to be
you want
too
this
deep.
angle to be high. It was 108, it's now 104, and your water is 114. You said.
Yeah. And so what happens is when you drink that water, or when you even mix it with another water, so you can use as little as 1 ounce of our water to a gallon of another, distilled or RO water, and it will transform that water to have the same hydrogen bond angle and the same amount of energy. It has 30 times more energy than any other water. And so, yeah, when you mix the two, in 4 hours, they'll transform. So people purify wells with it and lakes and things by just the transformation that happens. And so when you drink it, if you drink enough of it, within a few days of starting out, even the mixed water you drink, they say to drink your body weight in ounces. So that's a lot of water. If I weigh 140 pounds, it's 140 ounces of water, which is over a gallon. And if I'm right. And anyway, so drink lots of the water, and all the water in your body will convert to have that same hydrogen bond angle. And so your blood will flow much, much easier because the angle is like opened up. It's kind of like an infrared sauna is shown that it however they say it, like opens up the hydrogen bond angle. I forget, there's like a more technical way of explaining it, but yeah. And so all the blood,
structuring the water, do you know structuring is the right word for that? Is structuring it a lot? Is that the right word?
I think it's different. I've heard of structuring it like I've heard of that. Like we put it in under like scalar energy pyramids. We write, cool things on the bottle, and you can do this thing called, I don't know, you go like this. I forget what it's called. Have you heard of that?
I think so. Are you praying?
South spinning the water. You're like structuring it that way.
Okay, movement does structure it, so that makes sense. Spinning
so it's called south spinning. You go like this or like this, I think, and then you like have the water in between, and you like move your hands in circles towards yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we do that too, and yeah. So I forgot where I was at. Oh yeah. So when you have the whole body with that hydrogen bond angle, all the water, the heart doesn't have to work anywhere near as hard to pump the blood around the body. And so you have like a lot more energy, and people cure themselves of just about everything just from drinking this water or soaking their feet in it, because it actually goes through the skin a lot easier than other water because of the hydrogen bond angle. And so, yeah, like one of our friends, she had this toe. She's a diabetic, and she had a toe that was like black and about to fall off. They wanted to amputate it, but she just soaked her foot in this water with an ozonator in there every day, and then within 2 weeks, her toe was just like a brand new toe. It was like unbelievable.
That's a powerful testimony of real life healing from this wonderful water, and I'm convinced it's very powerful. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Quickly, so do you when you first tried it, did you have like a massive detox reaction? Did you have some kind of healing crisis, or did you just feel instant energy when you first went on this?
Well, it was an interesting time when I tried it, but I was getting attacked, astrally at the time. But no, when I first drank it, it was just like this pure like water. Like if I closed my eyes, I could just see like crystal lights, and it was just like, it's so pure. It's like so thin. There's no total dissolved solids. If you watch the videos about distilled water, why it's so good is because there's no dissolved solids. So it has that like normal water, but it's alive, because it goes through the UV lights. It has all this energy, and then there's this one aspect to it that it's almost sweet, like almost a little bit sweet. It's kind of like, it's really, really cool.
Tasteless, isn't it? Water, still water to me is tasteless. It goes down the throat easy, but it's sweet. That's really very crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not sweet like like honey or a fruit, but it's like, it's not like dead. It's like alive. It gives you this like, it's very enjoyable to drink.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're saying. Actually, one thing I do think with distilled water is I've got a zero water. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're actually really cheap, and they're not like machine electrics. They run on just a filter, and it does give 0 ppm. But what I believe is these cheap ones give you 0 ppm, but there's like still some total dissolved solids in there because it only reads to a millionth, I think. And if you think about it, there's degrees beyond that of crap. So it might read 0 ppm on a meter, but actually, if you talk to the 11th and billionth and more, what's going on is actually it's quite dirty in that way, very small amounts. And what you're saying resonates to me because you're saying it's distilled not just once, but how many times was it? 100 times?
Yeah, it's 200 to 300 times per gallon. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. So what's going on there is I think it's becoming so damn fine and so damn pure. Then you add in the UV, which I know is very powerful. We know UVB from the sun is magic medicine for the skin and also for the water too. When you solarize your water in the UV, so you're doing that on top of distilling 100 times. And yeah, no wonder it's doing something magical and probably decalcifying the pineal and giving you some kind of Kundalini experience, probably, if you drink it. So.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool stuff, and it's fun to share with people and let them try it, and they're always just like, wow, And we can put like our intent into it, which is to create a real benefit for all, and give them the new you, their real awareness, because realistically, the real cure for all is your real awareness. You just got to recognize it. Not somewhere, it's your real awareness. And so you just got to learn to recognize it and perceive from that real awareness. And so so that's when I give people the water, I'm like putting that intention into it. And a lot of times, we say that your intention is actually your real awareness, but you have to recognize what your intent is, not the intent of your personal created self here in creation, but the intent of your real awareness, which is, like I said, to create a real benefit for all, or however you want to say it, support the whole of life and put the whole of life first and as like your main priority. And then of course, that includes yourself. So yeah, it's fun, like I said, to give the water to people with that intention, and they can experience that whether they're conscious of it or not. And so it's pretty cool. It's like, I mentioned to people this guy, grandfather, that Tom Brown Jr. writes about, and he would heal people. He was a Native American guy who never was modernized. He just lived in his little, nomadic huts and things, and he would heal people just through water. Like I said, he would just put his intention into it. People would drink it, and yeah, they would be healed. But he said, like, it's not even the water that does it. It's his intention, his focus. Yeah.
I love that bias. So not the truth that emotions and intentions more powerful than physical health. The physical health body is one aspect of the 5 bodies, that you said that, the physical health is great and I love it. It's my passion, but I recognize at the same time that intention, awareness, emotions, and all these kind of things are more powerful for who we really are than physical health. Physical health is a very basic level. I think once you've solved the issue of I might get a disease, which is really easy to me and to you probably with all the things we're doing, Alzheimer's, dementia, I don't think we need to worry about that too soon. Once you've solved that, it's all just fun and games here. And then you can move on to the levels of what you're talking about, awareness, intention, all these kind of things.
Yeah, it's exactly, because life is endless. And so, yeah, we do these things here. It's like, well, we decided to come here. And so, yeah, it makes sense to look after the body. I'm not just going to put McDonald's in it and just like get sick and unhealthy. It's like, that's not supporting my physical body. And if my physical body is like getting worse, then I can't support, the environment here or people here as easily. So
I said this before that your skin is like fucking fabulous, man. And is that part of the reason the water? I think the water might have an impact. I don't know, but I reckon the water would have massive impact on your skin quality.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, I do lots of different things. I go to the beach twice a day. I go surfing. I get in the water, and
cool.
I'm doing the urine therapy too now. So it's cool. It's fun. It's like it's a real adventure. This place in space. It's like the real side is what we call, like, when you put your body down, you go to the real side. Which is what people call like the astral worlds or whatever. But it's real. It's not just like a dream like you're taught. Yeah. But realistically, the real side is always here and now, because life life is everywhere. All like the isness life is everything.
Mm.
It's like I say, it's like the air we breathe. It's just there.
Mm.
It's all you have to do is recognize it, and it's like, you know, recognize the air, but you recognize what supports the air, what supports the trees, what supports the cells in your body, and that's when you're starting to see what life is. It really supports whatever you decide, and so yeah, it's time to start making better decisions for everyone. And yeah, I kind of forgot where I was going with that.
Mm. Absolutely, brother. I agree 100% what you're saying. Yeah, the awareness and isness and coming closer to that is definitely what we're here for and our purpose in life, and to see all that stuff for sure. Can I ask you how this water? How can one go about trying and buying it? I think you sent me links, but I'd like other people to know that are watching this to test out. Is it expensive? Is it how much do you drink as well? And you know, all these questions I've got.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's on my Facebook. You can just message me if you can't find it, but
Mm.
on Facebook I'm Henry Draper, or on Instagram I'm All Natural Henry.
All natural.
And
Mhm.
I'm also have a Facebook page called All Natural Henry, but the website is called NU Wave Water.
Okay.
So it's new Wave Water, yeah, .club. And so yeah, when you get the water, we sell it by the gallon. We can sell it in smaller amounts if people request it. And like I said, you just mix as little as 1 ounce to a gallon of another water. You can drink it straight, but if you want to make it last longer,
Yeah.
you can mix it. And so it is expensive because it takes over 2 hours to make a gallon, and the machines are really expensive. And you know,
Mm.
so if you look,
It would be because of the UVB. The UV is not easy. It's not a cheap thing, is it? The UV, and plus the 100 times distilling. It's gonna.
Yeah. So it's been patented and everything because of the way it distills the water. And so we do sell the machines too at a discounted price to what John Ellis sells them for, and we sell the water cheaper than most people online that we've seen. So
Oh. And can one
yeah,
buy? Can one buy from you hitting up on Facebook?
yeah, just hit me up or go to the YouTube, go to the Facebook page, and if you want a discount code, I think I have one. It's just like my name, or just ask me for a discount code. And yeah, we send it all around the US a lot of the time. We can't send it overseas, but overseas it's better to send smaller amounts because postage
Yes.
costs go up as things weigh more. So I know just to send it to Canada, it was like $65 for 2 gallons. But with flat rate shipping in the US, postage is only like $19, even though Canada's just on the other side of the border.
Right. Yeah.
You pay another 40-something dollars.
I wonder what the UK would be then. That'd be quite expensive. Jesus.
Yeah, we could just send like a quart or a half quart, and you could mix it or whatever. But eventually, it would be cool if people could get the machines. But in the future, we'd like to talk to John Ellis, is that we get our big funding for our projects to design a really big machine, like that can do more faster. And
Definitely. Are you in contact with him for an interviewing him and stuff? Do you know him? Are you in contact with him?
yeah, we talked to him on the phone a couple times because we're distributors for the water, and he doesn't really seem interested in doing more interviews. He's done a few, and he says that, you know, the only people really interested have to be very health conscious or really, really sick to really be interested. And so, yeah, I guess he thought we were maybe not big enough or something to be interviewed by us. But yeah, it's really cool water. You can find more info about it just by typing John Ellis water in online, and you can learn about how it works.
I'm going to crack on researching that. I was procrastinating a bit for a while. I was so busy doing other things, but yeah, I will definitely. And I would love to in the future promote that and maybe even work with you in selling and distributing it from the UK side. So that's something the seed you put in me, that we could possibly work together and help people on our side, on both sides of the world, get this water out there. So
yeah, it's really cool. We can definitely figure something out. And yeah, if you, like I said in the video, it explains how they like poured it in wells, it purified the whole well, and then people drank the purified water in Africa when Ebola was around, and they were like curing their Ebola. It's very, very cool, and you know, all sorts of ailments, and they put it in lakes full of E. coli waste, and it disappears in like 3 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Let's
pretty
transition to
cool.
something that I really want to ask you about, the isness and awareness, because I know this is your special topic and I'm really curious about it. So you talked about it being all that is. How does one, say you're a newbie and you're hearing this for the first time, you're like, this sounds true, but how do I get to a stage where I'm aware of all the realities of life and the awareness and isness? Is it a process? How long does it take? Where does one start on this journey? Or is it just happen overnight? Can it happen overnight?
No, it's an endless journey because life is endless, you know, so you don't have to rush it because it's already complete. The isness life is and so, but all you have to do is recognize it. So you just start somewhere, you know, like I said, you start with the sun shining is like the easiest example of like demonstrating the isness life is. And so it just shines, you know, it's just shining. It's so pure and sincere. It doesn't ask for anything, it doesn't have any attitudes, but it supports us, you know. Without the sun, you know, we'd be in dark space here and there wouldn't be any life. And so yeah, that's like one demonstration of what it is. And so when you start to see that, when you start to recognize what it's demonstrating, you know, that pure, sincere reality, it's just a demonstration. It's really just a ball of fire or whatever a satellite, whatever you want to call it. But what it's demonstrating is that pure, sincere reality. And so you just start to recognize that. But then from there, you can see how it's also, you know, it's everything. It's like this plastic stuff. It's the air we breathe, the plants. It's all supported by this isness. And so it's so pure and sincere. There's no attitudes. You don't need a scientific explanation for it, because all words, even like the word isness, it's just a reference. It can't be it because it's a created word and created reference. But it's learning to recognize what it is that is the adventure and the challenge. And so you decide to do things here in your life to to activate that awareness, activate that recognition. And that's what you came here to do. That's what you've been around for thousands of lifetimes, to recognize this. And when you really recognize it, eventually, you know, you can always recognize it more so, but eventually you'll come to the point where you don't need your physical body. You don't need your astral, emotional, causal, intuitive bodies. And you can completely just, like, you can just exist in those endless real universes. But you know, that's a big process to get through. But eventually, but you just have to decide and instigate that journey. And so yeah, it just comes back to like the sun shining, and then like everything here on the earth for me is just like a reflection of that. So like you got the ocean. I like to watch the waves. They're just like always breaking, but it's kind of like a more complex reflection of the true reality than the sun. But it just is without any attitudes, but it's actually controlled by Harv and like all these other things too now. But yeah, and then you get the huge comparison of like how the earth is with the created consciousness here, and then you can start to see the mental level and the subconscious of things and the other levels, and how that affects us here too.
And does this lead us to access our astral bodies? Because that's another thing that I really passionate. Well, I'm intrigued. I've not done it, the astral projection, but I know it's real and legit. So if we do get to this stage of the journey where we're starting to see the isness of all that is, does that lead naturally to a state of astral projection and seeing astral side of the world? Or
Well, yeah, it depends on the individual, you know, what they experience, you know, because realistically you're already deciding with your real awareness what you experience. And then, you know, for some people that's an experience they want to have. Some people it's not. And so we actually, or what I say is that you don't need to astral project. You can just sing the new you and move your awareness to wherever. We call it universal positioning, where you just decide to position your awareness wherever you want, whether it be in creation or elsewhere in the real universes. And so you can go to any level, not just the astral level, the mental, the causal, the etheric, even into the deep dark border, which is like nirvana, which like kind of surrounds creation here. And So yeah, you can astral project, but you know, actually by doing that, you're actually really open to other entities. It can be dangerous. You can have your silver cord or whatever like severed, and
Mm.
these things can happen. So what I suggest is people just sing the new you, which is the real connection to the true reality life is, and then from there just see what shows up. Or you can ask to be shown something. But one thing I really recommend, I sent you Kevin Smith's YouTube channel. He's our friend over there in the UK. And
Okay.
he has like awesome experiences, and he was doing a lot of astral projection before he found out about the new you and what we're doing.
Oh.
But then he read, you know, in Dwayne's books, Dwayne, the new books, he talks about how, you know, astral projection can be dangerous, and it's an experience that can be valid. You know, he did it for a long time, but like can be dangerous. And so he recommends singing the new you and just like asking to be shown something, or deciding to see something, or
Mm.
just seeing what shows up. And yeah, I'm not saying not to astral project, but you know, this is what Kevin's experience was, where he's found that by not deciding to astral project, he would still be aware on the real side and whatever experience he was having, but it was more like his real awareness was deciding it, and he was more so watching his real awareness
Mm.
decide the experiences instead of being in his astral body and deciding the experience with his emotions and
Right.
his personal self. And so he still does astral project sometimes, but now it's more so an accident. And he says it's like it's kind of more boring because he's limited by his like mind and emotions and imagination.
Mm.
But when he just kind of moves to the real side, he can, you know, he has awesome experiences with different aliens and all sorts of different planets and just like crazy cool stuff
Mm.
that he wouldn't decide or wouldn't necessarily experience if he just, you know, astral projected. So
This is
yeah.
fascinating, brother. And you're saying it's from the New You song, but is you just sing a song of the New You? Can you talk a little bit about how people can access this information? Does it cost money? Is it free? And how to sing the song almost? Could you maybe talk?
Yeah, yeah. So the yeah, to access this, people can go to Kelsey Lynn Brown on YouTube, or just type in like, yeah, just type in Kelsey Lynn Brown on
That's
YouTube.
your sweetheart, right? I believe.
Yeah, that's my sweetheart. Yeah. And so yeah, just you can find lots of videos on her channel, or on mine there's a few, but Kelsey has more.
Mm.
And basically the new you, yeah, it's all free, or you can buy the new books in PDF on wonderfulworldwideeducators.com. And the new books are a great education as to how your five bodies work, how creation works compared to the real universes, and how the new you was like shared with, you know, with us by life itself. And so anyone can sing it, and really it makes you become aware of your intent if you pay attention. Like we had this one friend in the Philippines, and she has such a pure, like sincere heart and intent that when she sang it the first night, she was actually like a Christian, but when she sang it the first night, she she was just so pure and sincere. The real guides came to her and took her to the real universes to like show her, you
Mm.
know, the pure sound light reality that is available.
Huh.
And so it's really cool to listen to that experience. But everybody experiences something different. But yeah, when you sing it, what you do is you listen to the sound, and there's no right or wrong way to sing it, but you just listen to the sound. You can feel, I like to feel vibrate my body, and then just perceive whatever you can, or recognize of what makes sense of the true reality life is, the real universes. And so it sounds like new you.
Mm.
But you know, you can look it up on Kelsey's channel or just YouTube it. There's different people singing in different ways.
What is? Do you know the what specific things about that sound is doing these kind of things? Do we know why it's doing that with that sound?
Well, basically, it's the sound that it's like from the all is, we call it, which is like all of life, where everything is, where everything, you know, the just where everything is. We call it the all is anyway. You can read about it in the new books. And so from that reality comes the light and the sound of life. Okay. And so that sound in creation penetrates or enters creation as that new sound. And so by singing it, you're like connecting yourself to that sound light wave from the true reality life is. And so it's not, and then it's like it connects you to your intent, you know. It's really, really cool. If you look it up or go to Kelsey's YouTube channel, we have friends from all around the world that have just started singing it, and their whole lives just like change. It's really, really cool.
It's blowing my mind, brother. You talked about it last time, and now I'm understanding on an actual deeper level what you're saying, and I'm going to try and experiment with it because I want to experience what this is. And I'm very open-minded, and I know it's true, actually. And yeah, you can't deny with people testimonials and what you're, you know, so many people saying, oh, having these kind of experiences. I know better now, you know, with urine therapy, sun gazing, and all these lies out there that, you know, the truth is the truth. And what one man says, you know, it's hard to dismiss, isn't it? And when lots of people are having these kind of experiences, you've got to go with what the truth is.
Yeah, those confirmations are really important, you know. So it's like you said, all these things that we eventually learn, you know, about the world here. They like, you know, like you just mentioned a few things. There's so much we're taught that is just nonsense. And so yeah, it might sound a bit funny that you can sing a song to some people and it can connect you to the real universes. And like I said, the real universes, it's just a reference. You know, what else are we going to call it? So it's just something, because you have to come up with new references because the old ones get taken over, and so they don't refer to what is real, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, but people can get caught up in the words or whatever. And so when they sing the new you, they don't want to actually see anything. They're just going to test it so they can say they tested it. But it's your intent that matters. And then realistically, everybody's going to be shown something anyway, whether it's something so-called negative or not. But you just have to recognize what it is. You know, maybe life's going to show you your attitudes and what's holding you back, and you have a so-called bad experience. But you got to face yourself
on the intent. So what intent do I need to bring when I sing to it? Because I don't want to be that person that's cynical and puts a nocebo into it. I don't want to be that guy. So what kind of intent are you putting in when you say the words? What intent do you want to put that out there? What's the best intention?
Well, it's up to you. You know, what best is, I don't know, I like to use the word best because it's kind of like rigid, but for me it's like what makes sense. You know, your intention can simply be to support what supports you, you know. Support the whole of life, or to create a real benefit, or just to have a pure, sincere intent, you know, whatever you want to call it. And then you don't have to focus too much on it, but just listen to the sound and try to perceive, you know, what makes sense. You know, what makes sense is the isness life is. You know, it's like something has to make sense. You know, this place, life doesn't just exist everywhere for no purpose. It exists to support all of life, and in the process of us recognizing that it supports us and deciding to support it, we become more aware of what it is, so it can actually, life itself can actually better survive, because it expands as our awareness of it expands. So we're kind of supporting it, it's supporting us, and that's really cool. But you know, it's just sing the new you and see what happens. You know, don't have to complicate it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try this, and I'm going to hit it up, and I hope everyone watching this would also try this too with an open mind and give it a go, and I'll let you know the results on that for sure. Bro, this has been a fabulous interview, but before I go, I want to open the floor to a little bit, because there might be things that we might have missed that you figure really important to say, and this is your opportunity to give a last message. So anything we missed off, or any last message you want to leave people with before we go?
Yeah, just like I said, just test the new you, and I really encourage people to read the new books, you know, because as you read the adventures that Dwayne has had with the real guides, you actually go on those adventures with your awareness and your imagination while you're reading it. And then your view here of this place in space, this rock of Earth, it really changes as you really begin to understand that these other places and levels in life do exist, and then beyond that there is this true reality that is pure and complete, where cause and effect doesn't exist. You can still have cause, like I say, you can still decide things, but there's no like cause and effect, positive and negative. That stuff doesn't actually exist in the real universes. So just taking the time to like get a real education, because you can't get it just about anywhere else. And so what we're here to do is just to share what makes sense. It's really simple, and people can take the time to investigate it and go on a real adventure. Another really cool thing to do is, like I said, go to NU Kevin Smith on YouTube. He's got a lot of videos. He's our friend in the UK that has awesome experiences, and he makes videos talking about them and what he recognizes from the experience. He explains what life was demonstrating to him in each experience, and it's really cool. So yeah, just become more aware. That's what I'm really sharing, is just people to become more aware and become less affected by things, because like I said, your real awareness is it's already there. All you have to do is recognize it. So the more you recognize it and perceive from that real awareness, you can decide to do things here in creation on earth, but you're not really affected by anything else when you're recognizing and perceiving with your real awareness. So you become much more detached from all your, emotional, physical attachments and things. And life here becomes much more of an adventure, much more, like I said, it's more like the real side, where you're like in a dream, but you're here and you're just like deciding things, and then you just see what happens, and you're just like being much more now, like very now, because life is always new now, and you're ready to see what's going to come next. And so it's much more like dynamic and alive position.
Yeah, that's fascinating what you said. I really appreciate what you said and taking on board. I've learned so much myself from this video, and I'm going to rewatch it and then use it in the future to become more aware of my isness and practice it. I'm definitely going to practice that song. And thank you very much, brother, for being here today. You've given us such great information on distilled water and what you're doing. Thank you very much for your mission. I think you're a wonderful human being with great information and doing wonderful things. And I look forward to connecting with you more in the future. And we should definitely do a part 2, very soon. I look forward to that too.
Yeah, thanks so much, Harry. It's great to be asked to talk about what I'm doing and sharing. So yeah, I see we don't have much time left here, but yeah, well, we can talk again, and I'm really grateful for your time and what you're sharing too. It's really cool. So yeah, let's support each other and become more aware together, and yeah, it'll be fun.
We got this, brother. One love, one team. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. This was Henry Draper being interviewed by me, Alice Scale, for Harry Alkalis Realized Talk Show. So thank you very much.